Good morning, everyone. This is Jobert Bimalabad and your demonstrator for today. So, may I request for a volunteer to lead us a short prayer? Thank you. Before diving into the next lesson, may I just remind you to please open your cameras and keep your microphones off. Otherwise, if you have questions, inputs if ever asked to answer or read, please open your microphones. Does that make sense, class? Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, good morning once again. And before we proceed to our lesson, I have here 8 pictures and guess in what country these pictures belong. And what can you say about these pictures? This is the first picture. Four first pictures. Anyone who can know these pictures? Oh, okay, thank you. Next. Anyone? Okay, great answer. So, before we proceed to our lesson, before we officially start our lesson, I should say, we will have an activity. So the name of this activity is called 4 Picks 1 Word, wherein you will guess the pictures are trying to tell or convey. So the simple mechanics are I would flash a picture to the screen and you are going to tell or guess these pictures. Then I will call someone to recite, of course, and I will give 10 points to the students who earn a lot of scores. Thank you. Is everything clear? If that's so, we will now start the activity. So the first pictures, anyone who can answer this? Okay, thank you. Later on, we will know the answers. We will know if your answers are correct or not. So the second pictures are, what do you call those pictures? Thank you. So the answer for number 1 is Pakistan and number 2 is paintings. Next picture. Anyone? Okay, thank you for answering. And number 4, I should say. Thank you for answering. So the answer for number 3 is crafts. And the answer for number 4 is attire and textiles. Number 5. Who can answer? Yes? Okay, thank you for answering. Number 6, please. Okay, great. So the answer for number 5 is architecture and number 6 is sculpture. So class, did you enjoy this activity? How did you find the activity, class? Okay, thank you. Good to hear, class. What you saw are only the gist of our lessons. Those are some examples of the different arts and crafts of Pakistan. And our topic for today is entitled Arts and Crafts of Pakistan. So, the arts of Central Asia, particularly in Pakistan. So, let us now first discuss the history of the Central Asian arts, I should say. So, Central Asian art is visual art created in Central Asia, especially in Pakistan. Pakistan has a diverse history of handicrafts. The entire timeline of its culture was studied through ages. However, it lacks actual dates and origin despite flourishing the great Indus Valley civilization through Pakistan. On the other hand, experts claim that 80% of South Asian craftsmanship are still found in Pakistan, and the former craftsmen were mostly from the different regions of the country. People of Karachi used to sell jewelry, ornaments, textiles, furniture, leather goods, and other handmade items in markets that gives an impression of its historical existence. So class, uh, I suggest that you have to listen on this lecture because I will throw an a questions afterwards. Thank you. So these are the arts and crafts of Pakistan's, and they are categorized into five. First one are hands crafts or handicrafts. Second is paintings, attires and textiles, sculpture, and architectural. So different arts and crafts of Pakistan. First, crafts or handicrafts. So these are the marvelous artisanship is the most renowned cultural identification of Pakistan. The handicrafts making tradition is thousands years old, and it is also evident from the ancient excavations of Indus Valley, Harappa, and Mohenjo-daro civilizations. So the different handicrafts of Pakistan are famous for Pakistan's artisans are very brilliant and genius in their skills, whether it is embroidery, weaving, painting, or designing. They are master in every quality. So these are the pictures. These pictures, enchanting establishment. They have attractive colors, bewitching textures, and that's all. So the first picture is called wooden bowls. Wooden bowls, the handmade wooden pottery, especially bowls and carves, are the distinctive parts of the heritage of Hunza. Second is the chaba. The hand-woven utensil is very popular not only in the rural areas but also in the urban areas of Sindh and Punjab in Pakistan. This is used for keeping chapati or bread and commonly known as chaba. Third one is the clay penny banks. The traditional penny banks or money boxes made of clay have still not lost their popularity among Pakistan. Fourth is the camel skin lamps. Camel skin lamps and shades decorated in colorful floral patterns that represents an ancient handicraft and also renowned worldwide for the intricate handwork done on them by skilled artisans. The art of decorating a camel skin is known as nakashi in the local language and is a very valuable skill. Fifth is the cane basket and bags. In the northern areas and hill stations, then canes and handicrafts made of cane are very famous among the tourists and holiday makers. Sixth, the camel bone crafts. Multan is also famous for the exotic handicrafts made with camel bones. Camel bones is considered as long-lasting material for making amazing handicrafts and articles for decorations. So the letter B, paintings. Painting has been part of the life of Pakistani. They use vibrant colors in their artworks, which depicts historical meanings, and their creativeness leads them to create such wonderful artworks. So the first painting is this one. So who already know this picture? Okay. So this is called track art. Kaleidoscopic exhibition in motion, brightly colored, flamboyant tracks painted with images of idealized landscapes, famous personalities, flowers, and trees, turned village lanes, city streets, and long distance highways into a great gallery without walls. So, this track art is not just created by created, but it has a meaning that relates to the traditions and cultures of Pakistan. Next is the painted. So, a Pakistani painted dowry chest with two center doors, enclosing one shelf, having an exterior latch and metal hardware painted wood. Fine antique condition with normal wear for age and use they use as display and of course a storage box. The third one is painted jars of Pakistan were painted with intricate designs that shows the creativity of their artists. So next, the attires and textiles. So the textile industry in Pakistan is one of the largest industries in the world. They make products such as clothing, seat belts, blankets, carpets, and even roofing shingles. The next one is the kes. So it is a thin cotton blanket cloth of the Indian subcontinent, and it is a damask cloth used for blankets and winter wraps. Kes as a garment is a simple clothing item to wear loosely to cover up upper body parts by men in Pakistan and Punjab, India. Next one is the lungi. So the lungi is a term which can be applied to both waistcloths and turbans depending on the locality. Lungis are usually of high quality in both material and weaving. So the silk yarns were imported from Central Asia or China and the weaving done in urban centers all over Pune. Next one is the susi. So the handloom fabric made of cotton silk or a blend of the two. With colored dwarf stripes, Punjab region was known for its production and exports during the Mughal period. Susi was most often made with red and blue, blue and white, or green and white stripes, but other patterns were also produced. So next one is called shawls. Embroidered textiles of the northwest frontier province hit at influence of trade and woman's shawl from the Swat Valley. So shawls are used in order to keep warm, to complement a costume, and for symbolic reasons. One famous uh, type of shawl is the talit worn by Jewish men during prayers and ceremonies. So the next one is the carpets. So carpet weaving outside of jails was revived after the independence when Pakistan's carpet weaving industry flourished. At present, hand-knotted carpets are made by Afghan refugees residing in Pakistan making carpets in one of the country's leading export products. So carpets, I should say, are used in the hallway. Next one is the patu. Patu is a traditional dress for women. Next is the pati. So alay used for making pati fabric is generally used for making close neck coats, pants, pajamas, jackets. Initially women folk used this pati as patu, which was thicker and heavier than the patu. Uh, so the next is the shalwar kameez. So it is the national dress of Pakistan and is worn by men and women in all five provinces: Punjab, Sindh, Balochistan, Khyber, Pakhtunkhwa, and Gilgit-Baltistan in the country and in Azad Kashmir. Shalwar refers to loose trousers and kameez refers to shirts. Next is sculpture. Sculptural works include geometric sculptures in metal and wood. Some sculptures are influenced by forms taken from the Arabic script of the Quran. Pakistani sculptors create works ranging from small items that might sit on a shelf to giant monuments of concrete, steel, fiberglass, bronze, and stone. These are the first. This is the first, I should say. The Buddha of Swat Valley. So the Buddha is the most famous sculpture of many creations in the Swat Valley district of Pakistan. This particular one is probably the most well-known and one of the oldest rock carvings, having been carved on the side of a cliff during the 7th century. Two moons. The glass creation is a half-sphere shape which is epitome of contemporary sculpting, guaranteed to stand out in any gallery. It incorporates reflective green glass with the metal net light, design which highlights geologists' own ideologies. So, the fasting Buddha. It represents an event which took place before the Buddha's enlightenment. This sculpture depicts Siddhartha Gautama on his quest to try many aesthetic practices. This includes starving himself until he resembled a living skeleton. He later realized that mental cultivation and insight, not bodily deprivation, would lead to enlightenment. The fourth, the dancing girl, often appear scantily clad and sexualized, and while some like this are deemed controversial, it reflects the history of the area. The dancing girl uses rock which has been shaped into a human native to the location and most likely a sex worker. The creation is dressed in revealing clothing, which has commonly seen among prostitutes in Hira Mandi. The fifth is the Are you getting bored class? So I suggest that you have to listen still. Thank you. Alfredo Wollner sculpture. The impressive statue hands 7 feet and 9 inches tall and is made of bronze. Each detail of Woolner is captured, from every fold in his clothes to each curl in his hair. It is an ideal memorial for him. This structure is one of the few in Pakistan to still remain in a public area. However, there have been attempts to remove it. So the last one is the architectural. Some of the most important examples of architecture in Pakistan are the nation's mosques, many of which are decorated with geometric patterns covering the floors, walls, and surrounding the doorways. Pakistan's ancient architecture is dominated by tombs and religious shrines. So the first one is Mohenjo-daro. Mohenjo-daro was built in the 26th century BC. It was one of the largest cities of the ancient Indus Valley civilization, which developed around 3000 BC from the prehistoric Indus culture. When the Indus civilization went into sudden decline around 1900 BC, Mohenjo-daro was abandoned. The next is the Harappa ruins. The Harappa civilization has its earliest roots in cultures such as that of Mughal, approximately 6000 BC. The two greatest cities, Mohenjo-daro and Harappa, emerged circa 2600 BC along the Indus River Valley in Punjab and Sindh. As a result, the Ganges Valley settlement gained prominence in Janja cities developed. Dakot DG. This fort was built on strategic location since it provided an edge over enemies marching from the east. A fatigued army could be encountered before trooping towards irrigated lands in search of water. The fort was apportioned into three parts among the Talpurs, a hill near the city of Kaipur. Class, that ends the lecture for today, and I hope you enjoy our lecture. And I'm hoping that you've learned a lot in our discussion. So, thank you and God bless.